mabuhay o sa Kapampangan-Luwid kayo. Welcome back to another video. It's me, your friendly Pinoy historian. And if you are new to my channel, my name is Kirby Aráullo. I'm a historian, an educator, and a cultural advocate. And in this channel, I make videos about our history, about our culture, and about our people. So if you like any of those things, don't forget to like, share this video, comment down below, and subscribe. So for today's video, we'll be doing a reaction to Disney's From Our Family to Yours Christmas special. But before we do that, we'll do an unboxing of a Christmas present, an early Christmas present that I got from my friend Ate Diwa. So Ate Diwa sent me this package of one of her products from agyamanpiecesofhome.com as an early Christmas present, and also to liven up my space and make it more Christmassy, make it more holiday spirit. And I'm gonna open the box. So unboxing muna tayo. Yan. Ayay! Oh wow! May inabel! I did not know she sent me inabel too. Yan. Salamat Ate Diwa. Agyaman. But the main thing she sent me is the tampipi box. Yan. Tampipi box. Tampipi. Just kidding. Tampipi box from Ate Diwa's store, Agyaman. Ayan, meron siyang raffia crocheted flowers mula sa gawa sa raffia. Diba? Ang ganda ng flower, blue. Or indigo. Indigo is culturally speaking, indigo is has a deep history in Luzon, in the Philippines. Paano ito buksan? Ah, ganun. Ganun pala siya. Tan-tan! Yan! So what's inside this tampipi box? So inside this tampipi box, ay nahulog. Sorry. So inside this tampipi box are Christmas decorations that are made from rattan, a natural material that is also commonly found in the Philippines. A lot of our stuff in the Philippines are made from rattan. Even our traditional balls in our traditional sports like sipa, or what is known as sepak takraw in other countries, it's made from rattan. Oh ha? Di ba ang ganda? Napaka-colorful. Very beautiful, intricately made rattan Christmas decorations from the Philippines. Handicraft, a traditional handicraft in the Philippines. So what is special about this box too is that hindi lang siya, or it's not only beautiful, colorful rattan Christmas decorations, but also this whole thing, this whole Diwa ng Pasko Tampipi box is actually a fundraiser for the Philippine General Hospital. PGH, or the Philippine General Hospital, is the largest hospital in the Philippines. But sadly, it has been historically underfunded. Despite being the national hospital in the Philippines, it has historically been underfunded. You know, right now in this pandemic, PGH has taken a lead role in combating COVID-19 in the Philippines. So kung iisipin mo, sila talaga nasa frontline ng paglaban sa COVID-19 pandemic. But sadly, they're still underfunded. So this whole Diwa ng Pasko Tampipi box from Ate Diwa from agyamanpiecesofhome.com is a fundraiser kung saan 100% of the proceeds will go straight towards PGH. And all of this is only $35 US dollars. So mura lang kung tutuusin. And that is very cheap if you compare it to other Christmas decorations that you find around. Yung mga plastic na Christmas decorations. If you think about it, this is also very environmentally friendly. And this is also like very traditional. So in this spirit of giving this holiday season, definitely get your own tampipi box, Diwa ng Pasko Tampipi box from agyamanpiecesofhome.com, kasi hindi ka lang magkakaroon ng makukulay at magagandang traditional handicraft Christmas decorations. You'll also be able to help our frontline and healthcare workers in the Philippines, to help our kababayans fight against COVID-19 pandemic. So maraming salamat Ate Diwa, Agyaman for this very beautiful, very colorful, and very special Christmas decorations na nakakatulong sa ating mga frontline workers. Sabit na natin siya sa Christmas tree na pinadala din ni Ate Diwa.
Pasko na naman, okay tuloy ng araw. Pasko na daan, di na pa kung kailan lang. Ikaw mo na Pasko, dapat pa salamatan. Ikaw mo na Pasko, tayo ay mag-awitan.
Tadaan! So now without further ado, let's go back to our reaction video. Let's hit play. Oh, hey. Mickey. Oh, Mickey Mouse. Oh. Oh, there's a puppy. Oh. Making parol. That's nice. So just in the first 30 seconds, I already saw a lot of things. Marami na ako nakita na pwede nating kilatisin, that we can dissect and analyze. So yeah, let's check. So as you can see, there's a lot of parol. It's 1940 in the Philippines. So I'm it's in the Philippines. But as you can see, merong jeep. So there's a jeepney that passed by. Ano pa ba? And they did the mano. The mano po in Tagalog or in Kapampangan, siklod ko po. And fun fact nga pala sa ating mga kababayan, fun fact to our fellow Filipinos and non-Filipinos out there, this tradition of mano po, or when you place your forehead on the hand of, ano ba tawag ito? Forehand? But you know, when you place your forehead on the hand of the elder or someone you respect, it's a sign of respect. It's a tradition of showing respect. Unknown to many Filipinos that this tradition is actually found across Southeast Asia as well. It's not just us Filipinos who do it. So it points to this pre-colonial links, that interconnection that we had with our fellow Southeast Asians. So yeah, let's go back to the video. Suriin natin mabuti. Let's analyze this. So first we see 1940. So this is assuming that the scenery is from the Philippines in the year 1940. So the first thing that caught my eye was the jeepney. So in 1940, there wasn't yet jeepneys in the Philippines. Jeepneys did not yet exist in 1940. Kasi jeepneys were a product or came out after World War II. They only came out after World War II because they were from the surplus jeeps, the older jeeps that were used during the war. And then after the war, they repurposed it into the passenger jeep that we know today, the jeepneys. Technically, the evolution of the jeepneys that we know today did not start until after World War II. So it was after or several years, many years after 1940. So una, 1940, wala pang jeepney. So that's one thing that I noticed here is that bakit may jeep noong 1940? Kasi wala pang jeep nung panahon na yon. Jeepneys did not exist yet. But I did see the carretela with the horse, the carriage or the little carriage train that was drawn by the horse. That would have been more accurate if they used carabaos. Sure, we had horses in the Philippines, but the more common animal that you see drawing carriages or drawing carts in the Philippines are actually more of carabaos than horses. Horses are okay, but it would have been more accurate if they used carabao. So in this scene, you can see the flags in the back and the tile roof on the first floor of the Bahay na Bato. So una, Bahay na Bato are the traditional ancestral houses in the Philippines from the colonial period, although in my honest opinion, they had roots in pre-colonial architecture in the Philippines. But more on that later. So una, you can see in this house, in this traditional house, they have tiled roof on the first floor. That's very uncommon in the Philippines. They usually use the tiled roof on the top floor, the top roof. And secondly, in terms of architecture, you can see that the first floor is made of stone, and then the second floor is also made of stone, made of bricks. Technically, if you're depicting a colonial era Bahay na Bato in the Philippines, they're really not like this. The first floor are always made with bato or stone, and the second floor and third floor even sometimes they're usually made with hardwood. Makikita mo dito, you can see here in this illustration of a Bahay na Bato, you can see that the bottom floor is made of stone, which is accurate, but the second floor is still made of stone, which is very uncommon. And then another thing we see here is the flags in the back. So if you look at on the left side at the far back, there are two flags of the Philippines that are hoisted on someone's balcony. But if you look closely on the details, so as you can see, you have the red part of the flag on the top instead of the bottom. So usually the Filipino flag has the blue stripe on top and the red stripe at the bottom during peacetime. But during the war, the Philippines is one of the unique flags in the world that during war, we flipped over the flag to have the red stripe on top and the blue stripe on the bottom. And again, this scene is from the year 1940. In the year 1940, wala pang gera sa Pilipinas. The Philippines was not yet at war. Sure, World War II was already happening in Europe, but in the year 1940, it hasn't yet reached the Philippines. Pearl Harbor wasn't yet bombed. Clark Air Base was not yet bombed during this time. So I don't know why they had to put the flag upside down in this scene. Again, unless it was 1941, December 1941, or 1942, 43, 44, 45, 46, it would have made sense that the flag was inverted. But in 1940, the Philippines was not yet at war. So the flag should have been blue on top and red at the bottom. So, yeah. A little mistake in my opinion, but let's keep going. So this scene when they're making parol with Lola, with the granddaughter, the grandma, and the little puppy are making parols. So what are parols? Parols, if you're not familiar with it, if you're not Filipino, for non-Filipinos out there, or for Filipinos abroad who are not familiar with parol for some reason, parols are the Christmas lanterns in the Philippines, the traditional Christmas lanterns in the Philippines. It's nice that they have this scene, heartwarming scene of Lola and the granddaughter making parol. I think this is really a nice touch, especially for me as a Kapampangan. If you did not know, in the Philippines, Kapampangans are well known for making parols. It's a big industry in Pampanga, and it has deep history in our culture as Kapampangan. So people always associate parols with Christmas and colonialism in the Philippines, but parols have a deeper history in the Kapampangan society, in the Kapampangan culture. And this scene where the family gathers to create the parol, to make a parol from scratch with their elders, is very traditional. It's a tradition in Kapampangan families, in Kapampangan households during Christmas season. The family would gather and the elder would lead the making of parol. I myself remember making parols at a very young age. I learned how to make them at a very young age, because, well, I'm a Kapampangan. That's like a must for us to do. But, this tradition of watching your elder teach you how to make parol is very, special for us Kapampangans, and I bet from other Filipinos as well. And again, parols have deeper history in the Philippines. They have pre-colonial roots. So pre-colonially, the parols in Pampanga or in pre-colonial Kapampangan culture were not known as parols, because again, parol, the word itself is from Spanish. But parol back then were known in different names. One is sulu, one is sumbu, one is sulugi. So different names to refer to the traditional lanterns. And traditionally, these lanterns were not meant to celebrate Christmas, but actually were meant for the Day of the Dead. Why? Because these lanterns were meant to guide the spirits of your ancestors back home. So in a way, these lanterns, these parol, the pre-colonial parols, the ancestors of the parols, were meant to honor our ancestors by making a parol or making a sumbu, a sulugi, or sulu, a light for them, a lantern for them to come back home during the Day of the Dead. It's a way of honoring them. That's why making a parol as a family gathering, as a family tradition, is very special for Kapampangan families in Kapampangan culture. And if you want to learn more about the history of parol in the Philippines, or the history of Christmas lanterns in the Philippines, check out my video that I made 2 years ago now. So check out the links up here or down below for that older video. Or you can also let me know in the comments below if you would like to see a Tagalog version of the history of parol video. So let me know in the comments below. Now let's go back to the video. One thing that you notice in this video, when they show the portraits or the picture frames of the family, they're actually showing a little bit of family history. And in a way, they're showing histories of Filipinos abroad in the diaspora. So you can see a picture of Lola when she was younger, she was a nurse. So why is it important to depict Lola as a nurse? Well, for one, Filipino healthcare workers are found all over the world. So if you think about it, this whole scene, this whole movie, this whole short film is a way to honor the Filipino healthcare workers, the Filipino frontliners all over the world. Because in this time of pandemic, Filipinos are out there fighting this pandemic in the front lines. Not just in hospitals, but also in the care homes. We're not just nurses in the hospitals or doctors in the hospitals, but also caregivers in care homes. So they're always at risk. Many of our people are out there fighting this pandemic, fighting to keep us all safe and healthy. But sadly, if you think about it, there's been recent studies, there's been recent articles that exposes the vulnerability of our Filipino healthcare workers out there in the front lines. For example, here in the United States, Filipino healthcare workers make up only 4% of the labor force. But sadly, they make up over 31% of the COVID-19 related death in the workforce. So imagine niyo yun, 4% lang ang mga Filipino healthcare workers sa buong labor force ng US, yet they make up 31% of the death related to COVID-19. And it's the same in the UK, in the United Kingdom where this video is set. There has been an alarmingly high rate of death and infection among Filipino healthcare workers in the UK. So not just in the US, but also in the UK. And sadly, it's the same in the Philippines. A lot of our healthcare workers, a lot of our doctors, nurses have since passed away because of COVID-19. So we have to do better to protect our frontliners. They are the heroes fighting for our health, fighting for our safety. So we really have to do better for them. And for those who may not know, the Philippines has historically been the largest or one of the largest exporters of nurses in the world. And this dates back to the aftermath of the Philippine-American War, or the bloody Philippine-American War and genocide, when the United States invaded and exploited and occupied the Philippines. Filipino nurses being all over the world has a long and deep and complicated history that most of us are not even aware of. So yeah, there's a deeper history as to why a lot of Filipinos are in the healthcare industry, are healthcare workers, are nurses, doctors, and other healthcare workers. And this video is, I guess, a simple way of honoring our nurses, or honoring our healthcare workers who are out there in the front lines. But at the same time, we must do better to protect them. They're doing their best to protect us, so we must really do better to protect them. So what do I think about this short animated film, this short animated movie from Disney depicting Filipino families? Well, for one, I enjoyed watching it. I actually liked it. It's very heartfelt, it's very heartwarming, and it actually made me miss my own grandmas, my own lola and my own grandma. But from a perspective of a historian, well, there's some, it's not the best, it's not the most accurate depiction or representation of a Filipino family in the diaspora, but nonetheless, it's a good attempt. It's a good start, or a good attempt at depicting or representing Filipino families abroad. It has a great story, a very heartfelt story, heartwarming story that honors the Filipino migrant families and also honors the migrant workers, especially healthcare workers who are out there in the front lines. And I know a lot of people are bothered by the inaccuracies such as the jeepney or the inverted flag, or the different things that they find that could have been improved in this short film before they released it. But like what they say here in the US, representation matters. And this is a big deal for Filipinos in the diaspora. I can understand why it's a big deal for a lot of Filipinos abroad. For those of us in the diaspora, especially those of us who moved here or moved to the UK at a young age, or those of us who were born in the UK or in the US, or any Western country for that matter, we've always had this experience of a society constantly making you feel like you don't belong. At lalo na dito sa US, it's very ironic kasi the United States is a nation of immigrants, it's a country of immigrants. Yet, as people of color, we've constantly faced discrimination, exploitation, and injustices. Which is why, despite the criticism that we may have about this short film, or about Disney for that matter, it's important for us to see a representation of our people, of our culture in the mainstream media. Lalong-lalo na para sa mga kabataan, for the children. It is very empowering for children of color to see themselves in the mainstream media, in things like this from Disney. It's almost priceless, especially when done respectfully. I mean, I understand there's a lot of improvement that I could have done in this short film, but this is still a good start. This is still something that our families, our people in the diaspora, our children in the diaspora could enjoy and should enjoy. Kasi nga napakahalaga para sa ating mga kabataan dito sa diaspora o sa mga abroad na nasa abroad na makita ang kanilang sarili sa mainstream media. Kasi if you grew up in the US as a person of color, you constantly face this discrimination that you don't belong. And seeing yourself in something like this is very empowering. And I know it could be better. It could be more critical. But, hey, they got our attention. They got us talking about it. And I guess, that is a good start. And they definitely should not stop there. And again, this is Disney. Disney movies, Disney animated films are meant to make you feel good. They're meant to make you feel all warm and fuzzy. And I think they succeeded in that. It made me miss my own lolas, my own grandma. So yeah, definitely a great start. And I hope that this motivates us to do better, to create better representations of our people in the media. So yeah, those are my initial thoughts about this movie, about this short film From Our Family to Yours from Disney UK. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Now, a few things before I go. So, agyaman, maraming salamat to Ate Diwa for sending me this Diwa ng Pasko at PP box. And for those who do not speak Tagalog, Diwa ng Pasko literally means the essence of Christmas, the spirit of Christmas. So, if you're from North America and you want to have your own Filipino Christmas spirit at home, don't forget to get your own Diwa ng Pasko at PP box from agyaman.piecesofhome.com. And by getting your own Diwa ng Pasko at PP box, you're also helping our frontliners, our healthcare workers back in the motherland. And to support our Filipino healthcare workers in the US and our communities impacted by COVID-19 in the US, visit nafconusa.org for more information about our Bayanihan community response to COVID-19. Our fight against this pandemic is not yet over. So make sure to make a donation to nafconusa.org to help our kababayans affected by this pandemic. And if you've seen the news recently, there's been a lot of powerful typhoons that devastated the Philippines, that devastated a lot of our kababayans back at home in the motherland. So if you want to support them, if you want to donate to them, check out NAFCON's Bayanihan Relief. And our Bayanihan Relief is not just for immediate relief, it's also for the long-term rehabilitation of these communities affected by these natural and unnatural disasters. So if you want to help our kababayans, don't forget to donate to NAFCON's Bayanihan Relief. Check out the links below for more information. And I guess that is it for me today. Always remember to know your roots and know history, know self. And if you like this video and learn a thing or two, don't forget to like, share this video, comment down below, and subscribe. And if you want to help me make more videos like this, show your support and please be my patron or get a copy of my book or any of the merch linked down below. So shoutouts sa aking mga patrons on Patreon for all your love and support. Maraming salamat po. Dakal pong salamat. See you next time, or in Tagalog kita kits and in Kapampangan, Mikitix.